Hey everybody, today we are going to look at area of a triangle, and we are going to expand on our previous knowledge from middle school. So we're going to start by remembering what our area of a triangle formula is. We should all remember that area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So what we're going to look at today is area of a triangle if we're given some specific information. What we're going to be given is the length of this side B right here, the measure of angle C right here, and the length of this side A. So we are going to be given side angle side. Okay, so we're going to use a new area formula when we're given side angle side. Alright, so what I want to look at is if I want to look at the ratio for sine of C. Remember, C is opposite over hypotenuse if we look at this little right triangle. Okay, we drop the height in the triangle. We've got a right triangle right here. So opposite over hypotenuse is H over A. If I solve this for H by multiplying both sides by C, I'm going to do that my height is A times the sine of angle C. If I take this information right here and I plug it in for H in my area of a triangle formula, the area formula that we're now going to look at is 1/2 my base times my height times the sine of C. So my A sine C is now my height. Okay, we are typically going to write this as 1/2 AB sine C and put it in alpha order. But what I want you to see is that this A sine C is just the height. It is still area of a triangle just like we've always done, except now we're using trig to find the height because the triangle we're looking at is not a right triangle. Alright, so again, it is still 1/2 base times height, even though it looks a little different. Alright, so let's take a look at how we use this. So what I notice here for number 1 is I'm given my side length, the angle in between, and another side. Okay, so I'm given side angle side in this image. So that means that I can use my formula, which is that area equals 1/2 AB sine of C. So if you want to label your triangle, this would be side A, this would be side B, and this would be our angle C. So we're going to plug everything in. It's going to be 1/2 times 16 times 11 times the sine of 105 degrees. 1/2 times 16 times 11 is 88. So this is 88 times the sine of 105. And when we put this in the calculator and round to the nearest tenth, we're going to get 85, and it rounds 0.0. Remember, we need to have the 0.0 if it is not 85 exactly. Please do not forget your units of measure. You will lose points on the test if you do not have them. Alright? Go ahead and try number 2. So pause the video right now and give number 2 a shot. Alright, go ahead and check your answer here. So again, we have that side angle side, so we're doing 1/2 times my sides times the sine of my angle. And again, rounding off to the nearest tenth, do not forget your units squared. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. What I want you to notice here is that we are not given side angle side, we are given angle angle side. So, angle angle side, if we're going to try to find another side length here, means that we are using law of sines to find some missing information. Okay? So, here we are missing a side length. So, I want you to make a little note of that. So that way, when you go to look back at your notes, you will be able to see what to do when you're missing what piece. Alright? So, what we're going to look at here is I'm going to find this side length right here. So I'm going to look at this side length here. I know it is across from this angle. All right, I've got this angle measure here, which is across from this side. So I'm going to set up the sine of 76 over 7 is going to be equal to the sine of 59 over x. So we're going to cross multiply to get what we need. So I'm going to do x times the sine of 76 is equal to 7 times the sine of 59. We are going to divide both sides by the sine of 76. So this is going to be 7 times the sine of 59 divided by the sine of 76. We're going to put that in our calculator and we're going to get 6.2. Now, this is rounded, and one of the things that I want you to make sure that you realize is that when we round things for writing them down, that's fine, but we also want to make sure that when we go to put things in our calculator, we use the complete decimal. I don't want you to put 6.2 in your calculator. I want you to put the full decimal of 7 times the sine of 59 divided by the sine of 76. Okay, that is 6.1838 ... I want you to put that whole decimal in your calculator. So if you have not used it yet, if you notice on your calculator where the negative sign is, above it you see ANS. Where you're putting that 6.2 in your calculator, instead of typing in 6.2 in that spot, I want you to do second ANS. So if we look at now, I have these two sides. I want to find this angle in between so I can have side angle side. All right, so I'm going to do 180 minus 59 minus 76, and that is going to get me 45 degrees. So now I know this is 45 degrees, and now I have my information for side angle side to be able to do my area formula. So it's going to be 1/2 times 7 times 6.2 times the sine of 45. So again, in your calculator, I want you to right here hit the second button and then hit the negative sign so that in your calculator this is read as ANS. Okay? So when I put this in my calculator, again, I'm going to round it off when I write it down, but I leave it long in my calculator. So again, you'll just hit times the sine of 45, and this is going to give us rounded to the nearest tenth, 15.3 millimeters squared. Area is always units squared. All right? Questions here, make sure you are asking me. All right, so let's go ahead and pause your video and go ahead and give this one a try. All right, go ahead and check your answer. So again, we're going to use law of sines to find this side. Now, you may have chosen to find this side, and that would be fine. You just would have had a couple of different numbers here. You wouldn't have had the 9.2. You would have had something else. And again, that's more than fine. All right? You should end up in the same spot. But here again, we were given angle side angle, which is law of sines. So we have to solve for a missing angle. All right, let's take a look now at what happens if we're missing an angle measure. All right, so I've got the two sides, but I don't have the angle that's in between them. All right, so what we are going to do is we are going to find this angle. So the reason I can't start by finding this angle is because I don't have this angle or the side across from it. All right, so what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to find this angle. I'm just going to go ahead and call it Y because I have the side across from it. With this one, I have this angle measure and I have the side across from it. So I can set up my law of sines this way, and then once I have this angle measure, I can subtract them from 180. So let's take a look. I'm going to set up the sine of y over 5 is going to equal the sine of 85 over 11. So we're going to cross multiply here. I'm going to get 11 times the sine of y is equal to 5 times the sine of 85. All right, we're going to divide both sides by 11. So it'll be 5 times the sine of 85 divided by 11. And then we're going to take the inverse to get y by itself. So it will be the inverse sine of 5 times the sine of 85 divided by 11. All right, to the nearest tenth, when I put this in the calculator, I'm going to get 26.9. Remember that with law of sines, we have to check the second option. So if I subtract this from 180, my other option is 153.1. Now remember, we need to check both of these. The angle that I'm given is 85. If I add 26.9 to it, I am less than 180 degrees, so this is a valid option. But if I add 85 to this, I get more than 180, so we know this is not a possible answer choice. All right, so we know that this angle for y is going to be 26.9 degrees. All right, then from there, that means I can say, okay, I can do 180 minus the 26.9 minus the 85, and that is going to get me this angle measure up here, which is going to be 68.1 degrees. So this right here will be 68.1. Now I have side angle side, and I can do my area formula. So it's going to be 1/2 times 5 times 11 times the sine of the 68.1. Again, we want to leave that number long in our calculator. All right, so this is going to give me 27.5 times the sine of 68.1. Put that in our calculators and round it off to the nearest tenth. We are going to get 25.5. Our unit is centimeters squared. All right, if you need more time to write things down, go ahead and pause your video. But let's go ahead and try number 6 on our own. So pause the video here, give this one a try. I will let you know that because we do have all 3 sides, you can pick whatever angle you want to try to find. But when we're looking at this one, notice that we are given side, 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 and not side angle side. So instead of doing law of sines to find a missing angle, we are actually going to do law of cosines. All right, and to keep things consistent, go ahead and let's all find this angle measure. It should work with whatever angle you find, but so that way when you check your answers, you're able to check your actual work with where mine is. All right, so go ahead and find this missing angle using law of cosines and pause your video now. All right, let's go ahead and check our work. All right, we use law of cosines to find our missing angle measure, which is 98.2. Again, don't forget to leave it long in the calculator. And that means we'll use 6 and 14 as the sides we're using here. Again, you could have chosen any angle measure you want to find. You would have done law of cosines, you'd have found each angle measure, and you would use, like if I found this angle, I would use these two sides in my area formula. If I found this angle, I would use these two sides in my area formula. You should still end up in the exact same spot at this 41.6 no matter which way you go. Alright? Let's take a look at one more way to find area. Now, this one, in the last example we were given side, 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 it would have actually been much easier to use what we call Herons Formula. Okay? So with Herons Formula, we are going to use what is called a semi-perimeter. Alright? S is going to be a semi-perimeter. And the way that we're going to find S, it's actually half the length of the perimeter of a triangle. So we're going to do 1/2 times the quantity of A plus B plus C. So we're adding the three sides together and dividing it by 2. That is my semi-perimeter. Alright, so Herons Formula is going to use the semi-perimeter, and it'll be area is equal to the square root of my semi-perimeter times semi-perimeter minus A times semi-perimeter minus B times semi-perimeter minus C. So I'm going to subtract each side length from the semi-perimeter, multiply it all together and multiply by the semi-perimeter, and then take the square root. Okay? So this is one of those cases when you're given all three sides. You can either do it this way, which would be fine, or we're going to use Heron. So we're going to do two examples here where we're using Heron's formula. So when I look here, I'm given side, side, side. So instead of doing law of cosines and then my area formula, I'm going to use my Heron's formula. So I'm going to start by finding my semi-perimeter. My semi-perimeter is 1/2 the perimeter. So I'm going to do 18 plus 19 plus 21. So my semi-perimeter is going to be half of 58, which is 29 miles. So then for my area formula, it is going to be the square root of my semi-perimeter, again, times semi-perimeter minus A, semi-perimeter minus B, semi-perimeter minus C. So when we plug those numbers in, we're going to get 29 is my semi-perimeter times 29 minus 18 times 29 minus 19 times 29 minus 21. So my four numbers underneath my radical, 29, and then 29 minus 18 is 11, 29 minus 19 is 10, and 29 minus 21 is 8. If I multiply those four numbers together, I'm going to get the square root of 25,520. Take the square root of that in your calculator and you're going to get 159.7 when we round to the nearest tenth miles squared. And it doesn't exactly say in this problem where to round to. Anytime you're not told where to round, go ahead and just be safe, round a tenth. Alright? We're going to look at one more example here. And we're going to have a triangular shaped piece of glass, has side lengths that measure 35 inches, 27 inches, and 14 inches. We want to find the area of the glass. Please use Heron's formula to go ahead and try this on your own. So pause the video, use the formula that we just did, and give this one a try. All right, go ahead and check your answers. You should have gotten 38 for your semi-perimeter because we're going to add 35, 27, and 14 to get 76, and then divide that by 2. Then we're going to take the square root of the 38, and we're going to do 38 minus A, 38 minus B, and 38 minus C. Okay, we should get 30,096 underneath our radical, and then we take the square root from there and round to the nearest tenth. All right, please let me know if you have any questions, and we will talk about them in class. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Make sure you complete the practice that goes with this section.